Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishnan. Basically, today we are going to talk about the formula word, and this is basically 44th number part. Basically, until 43, we have discussed lots of things about the formula word. Basically, here basically we are talking about the cyber security. What actually the cyber security is? Cyber means what? Cyber means it's connected with the internet only. Because if it's a local computer and there is nothing internet is connected, then basically it's not there is no required of cyber basically, because cyber says that there should be interconnection should be there basically, because that's why basically if any single standalone computer exists, then basically it does not contain into cyber law basically. But then also basically if the pen drive you are accessing, then basically the pen drive data takes ba- the pen drive takes the data from the computer, then basically that data are accessed in the internet, then basically that time basically comes into cyber law basically, because you have accessed the data from the computer to pen drive, and then pen drive to you have taken the data to internet basically, then basically cyber law comes into picture. So basically it's very difficult to track the basically from where the pen drive has taken the data basically, but it's not impossible. The reason is basically each and every computer in this world basically is connected with the set of servers basically, whether the internet exists or not exist. So basically each and every computers are connected somewhere basically with some server basically, and each and every, and one more thing basically, if you type one notepad also and you have written few 10 to 20 lines basically, that 10 to 20 lines basically one day it's going to be checked by the set of groups basically. So either here basically I want to say that each and every task you are doing, each and every task you are doing in the computer, that is basically one day it's going to be checked at any cost basically. So basically it can be anytime basically, it can be because it's crores of files basically, crores of files, more than 100 to 100 crores files basically. So basically each and every files has is getting checked basically, and without checked basically nothing basically, each and every lines are basically physically checked by the people basically. Sometimes basically few data are very critical, so they takes the printout and then basically checks, but mostly basically they checks as a digital only basically. So basically here basically we are talking about, that was basically different topic basically, but that is basically connected with the cyber law, because that data is getting checked. So basically one day you are going to be inside the cyber law basically when the data is going to be checked basically that time basically, but it has not checked when you are creating the data. That time basically it does not checks the data, but if it's a critical, then basically it gets checked. But if it's not critical, you have not written any normal yeah, okay, some extraordinary word or some bad content or some unexpected words, then basically it does not get checked. Otherwise, it gets checked basically. So basically, here basically I want to say is each and every computer in this world basically is connected with set of servers, whether the internet exists or not exists. It's going to transfer the data of your computer from to the server basically. So here basically we are going to see, that was basically different topic basically, but that was supposed to be known because it's a cyber world and cyber security is ongoing. So there are many parts of cyber security also, you can say, because that is a different world of cyber security. This is, and this cyber security which we are talking about, that is totally different. So basically here we are talking that the today's topic is basically internet. What actually the internet is? If we say that the internet is in normal words basically, if we say set of servers are there, set of providers are there, and set of internet pipelines are there, and set of pipelines are connected with the set of servers, and then servers are basically connected with the set of cables basically, we can say, and then cables are connected to the set of internet, yes, set of antennas, and then basically it's connected with set of satellites basically, and there might be many things basically which might be connected. So basically, se- in simple language, basically internet is connected with directly with the satellites, and satellites basically takes the data and gives the data from the different world, different it's basically you can say different place only. Basically you can't track that place also, because internet it's very vast basically. So here basically normally basically it's cable, set of cables, set of providers are there. It's basically Geo, Airtel, Vodafone is there, Hmm. Then basically there are many basically providers. That BSNL is there, then Mafoi is there, and then basically U channel U cable is there. Many basically cables are there, and many internet providers are there. Basically they use the data and takes the money basically. So it's like simple funda basically. They give the service of the internet, and internet is basically in that basically they have the certain rules and regulations that basically they follows. That is basically cyber law basically you can say. So that is basically different world and different things. So here basically we are talking about the internet basically. For example, there is one Airtel provider or some Geo provider. They gives the internet basically. So if they give the internet, for example, they have some 10 gateways. In that gateway, basically they give the internet. Basically, for example, 10 gateway means 10 types of gateways are there. There basically their data are getting checked, and then only basically the data are given to the customer basically. So that basically 10 types of gates basically are basically virtually created in the server, and basically if we see in other way basically each and every internet which each and every provider basically is providing, that basically have physical location also. Same way basically like text box is equal to created by thousand cities, same way internet basically which is getting created, which have some algorithm. Internet basically gets connect to your PC on the base of set of providers and on the base of set of connections basically. So that connection basically is created from the set of algorithm basically you can say. That algorithm basically we can't display here, but it's basically very critical also, because each and every provider basically have their own algorithm, and that's basically never able to disclose also, because it's their property, and that's their property means it's their everything basically you can say. Each and everything is basically on the base of that provider only, basically on the base of that algorithm basically you can say. So that algorithm, to keep secure that algorithm, some same exactly algorithm is equal to physical creation you can say. So whatever algorithm data they are giving to, according to on the base of that algorithm, the data is getting provided. That algorithm basically has been created as a physical location also you can say. So the physical location is also there of the each and every provider basically you can say. Otherwise, basically, if they have not created the physical location, then basically it might be possible that government might have created that location. And according to the government, basically the government might be taking some tax amount from the providers. That might be the another scenario. If basically this is this which I am talking, that a provider has not created the physical location, then basically it might be possible that government has created the physical location, and then basically government might be um, taking the some tax amounts. It's the same like basically private company basically don't know the, even the Microsoft don't understand what is actually text box. Text box equal to thousand cities. So basically, if you tell anything anybody to this, basically any company like Accenture, Capgemini, Patani, IBM, you if you say that a thousand city has been created on the base, sorry, text box is created on the base of thousand cities, then basically nobody will understand basically, because it's connected with purely with the government basically, and government says that that's our secret and we are not going to discuss this. But basically, if I will take one normal example, for example, by chance just assume that by chance the text box is not getting display, and Microsoft says that we have more than 500 crore text boxes getting displayed in the customer forms basically. And by chance, basically, in one day, the text box basically is not getting view. Then basically, what would be the answer of the government basically? That basically the simple question. The Bill Gates has, sorry, Microsoft Corporation, that is Bill Gates, has asked to the government. That time basically there was no answer. The solution basically you can say is the government has to give this into written basically that the text box is not going to disappear of any of the day, and it will be 100% going to disappear. It going to display in the web screen basically. That is basically web browser. That is basically form basically the name also you can say. So basically, government should actually give the written letter, and letter should be, and actually if Microsoft asked government that we if you can't provide the list of data, list of text box cities, then basically give the written letter that basically your text box is going to display. And then basically government told that there is no need to give that letter basically. The reason is we have registered your company in the company law. That means that is the letter basically, and you are paying the tax amount. That is basically the assurance that every time you are paying the tax amount, na, then that is basically that the assurance that tax box is not going to disappear. If you don't pay the tax amount, then basically it might possible. So basically, then basically it comes to that scenario only, that basically your tax box will get disappear, is going to disappear, because the government is telling if you are not paying the tax amount, then basically we have to take some certain action. That action will be 100%, tax box will not disappear, oh, sorry, not going to display in the form. So basically here the topic is basically the government is telling that we are not going to give you in return that text box is going text box related to the text box, and the Microsoft Corporation is saying that you have to give the um, written letter basically, and written letter of the this basically topic, that is basically text box equal to created from the thousand cities. Same way basically internet also, internet gateway is there, internet algorithms are there, because if one internet provider is having the algorithm, and they are telling that basically this is created on basically this algorithm, we can give you the physical location basically. So provider basically, if provider has created this algorithm equal to physical location, then basically they will tell that these are the algorithm and this is the physical place, and we have around 70 to 80 cities basically, where basically we have created our this algorithm. We can display you that physical place also. So that is basically the internet algorithm. So that basically internet provider can give basically. Why basically they are telling that they have created it. If they have not, the another scenario is if they have not created, then basically they have to the government is going to not going to display the, not going to tell you the physical location, because it's basically secret. Same way basically text box is equal to the thousand cities, the secrets are there, and secret government basically say if we will display your tell you the secrets basically, then basically how basically we will survive. Then basically one day it might possible that you will sit in our place and you will say that you do that work, so that will not work basically. So basically government is telling that if we have to keep our secrets, and we are going to keep the secret. And this is basically exactly same like this basically, Russia and Ukraine war is ongoing. So basically the war was settled many years before basically, you can say. Why? Because the energy company and power company has already settled the environment. That's why basically when you hit the missile at certain location, that time basically 2 to 3 kilometers area gets effect. So 2 to 3 kilometer area gets effect. That means the blast which is happening from the missile, that is connected with the 2 to 3 kilometers basically. So 2 to 3 kilometers normal missiles can't do the blast, because this only happens when the power supply has settled the environment. So basically to set one environment basically it takes many time basically. That means Ukraine and Russia war basically might have planned long before. Basically, it's not suddenly happened, because suddenly does not nothing happens basically. So basically, pre-planned basically we can say, but I'm not not to discuss this here basically. But here basically we are telling that each and every incident which is happening in this Earth planet, that has considered into project management plan. That's basically the main topic basically. The each and everything basically you can say it's going to be covered in the project management plan. So basically here basically we are stopping here, and this is basically 44th number, and in the 45th number we are going to discuss a little bit more about the project management plan and